Today, we are going to be reacting to JCS Criminal Psychology's latest video. It is called Yeardley's Ex-Boyfriend. Chat, say hello to YouTube.
Alright. Did you say you did want water, didn't you?
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, grab me some water real quick. I need to get some stuff over here. That's my card. I know I introduced myself to you at your house, but my name is Lisa Reeves, okay? And I am a detective here at the Charlottesville Police Department.
Okay.
Guys,
So
do you know something that might blow your minds? I know I've said this on stream before, but you might not have been watching the stream at the time. If you're a fan of JCS Criminal Psychology, James Can't Swim, whatever it used to be called, the commentator in these videos isn't actually JCS. It's a commentator.
I want to talk
First
to you.
pause at 26 seconds. Come on, man.
Rights, okay? And that way I can explain to you what's going on and all that good stuff. Do you understand? You understand that? Okay. Today's date is May the 3rd, 2010. The current time is...
It's a really annoying, like, squeaking noise.
Yes.
G-E-O-R.
What's happening?
I didn't.
Just awkwardly staring at each other in silence?
There's no way I didn't do it. No way.
Where's the captions gone?
Why did you guys come in and say you were searching for an assault?
I never said anything about an assault.
Someone came in this morning.
I never mentioned to you anything. Just told you we're investigating something. Wanted to know.
Investigating.
Do you want me to call anybody for you, George?
It's an interesting concept to think of how you might respond to what would normally be an easy question, especially during a circumstance where it becomes a terrifying dilemma. We ask that you contemplate this question while you put yourself in George's position, but not before you grasp the context of what brought him to this moment. It begins with 22-year-old sports scholar Yeardley Love, a star lacrosse player at the University of Virginia.
Can I just say, I have missed this guy's voice so much. It's been a year since JCS has uploaded, and I've like really... This is the only true crime YouTube channel that I genuinely just like can't... I can't get enough of the videos. I just think they're so good. They're just amazing. The way they break down the body language and stuff.
In the second to last game of the season, clearly aware of the obstacles that lie in front of her, yet continuing to move forward, which is the circumstantial detail that turned this picture into a symbol for the globally recognized organization that would be founded in her memory. This would be the last photograph taken that day, capturing Yeardley's last embrace with her head coach Julie Myers. Both were unaware this exact moment would soon be on the national front pages. On May 3, 2010, at roughly 2:15 a.m., Yeardley's roommate returned from a night out to their off-campus apartment. Upon entering, she saw that Yeardley's bedroom had been broken into, at which point she rushed inside to find her unresponsive on the mattress. She had blood coming out of her nose and severe bruising across the right side of her face. But the most alarming thing was that she wasn't waking up. Her friend called 911, who instantly guided her through the steps of CPR, which was then taken over by paramedics who arrived on the scene 4 minutes later. But their attempts at revival were unsuccessful, and Yeardley was pronounced dead at exactly 2:47 a.m.
That's fucking horrendous.
At 2:53
like, no
that
one
same
should
morning,
ever have to come
criminal
home for that.
investigator Lisa Reeves woke up to a phone call from the sheriff's office. By 2:59, she had arrived at Yeardley's apartment leading the investigation, and by 3:50, confirmed that she had her first person of interest, which was 22-year-old George Yeardley V, Yeardley's ex-boyfriend. And the next several hours were spent gathering information before she knocked at his front door. She found out that George was a fifth-generation heir to a very wealthy American family, whose roots lay in lumber dating back to the 1900s. He was educated at Landon Prep, a prestigious all-boys private school in Bethesda, Maryland, with annual tuition fees of up to $50,000.
Why does America always have to take something and change a letter and try and make it their own? Like Landon? That's even how Londoners say I'm from Landon.
Educated at Landon Prep, a prestigious all-boys
Can't you guys just come up with anything yourselves?
School in Bethesda, Maryland, with annual tuition fees of up to $50,000. George was the star player on the lacrosse team and became an All-American athlete. This led to a full scholarship at the University of Virginia, where he remained a key player in the starting lineup, and where he would also meet, then spark a romance with fellow lacrosse player Yeardley Love. They dated for almost 2 years.
Yeardley and Love's relationship was an on-again, off-again one, where they cheated on each other throughout and that tempers flared both ways.
What was going on with these two young people? What may have led someone to do what happened? These are just a completely unbelievable set of facts.
Everybody watched the relationship. People were really troubled by it. They were scared for her. Nobody knew what to do.
Yeardley ended the relationship in 2010, just 2 weeks before graduation. 9 days later, she was found dead in her bedroom. And that same morning, George Hughley would hear a knock at his front door.
God, they moved so fast.
He opened to Detective Lisa Reeves, who was dressed in civilian clothing.
My God!
She introduced...
Alti, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. And the smiley face, I really appreciate it. Happy holidays. I remember once someone left a really, really nasty comment on one of my true crime reaction videos on YouTube. And they were like, I can't believe you don't like mute your sub alerts and stuff during true crime. And like, we always had the same opinion when we spoke about it. Like, I actually like the break from it. Like, I think it's really nice to like have little wholesome moments and breaks and like a little breather and an escape from like what's happening. Because as much as I love true crime, it's very overwhelming and it's obviously very fucking sad. And I was kind of upset by it. I was kind of hurt by it because I was like, I like it because it's a second to breathe. It's an escape. Okay, maybe you're not going to be as immersed in the video as some other streamers, but at the end of the day, I'm still a small streamer, and I'm very thankful for everything, and I like the break. If you guys don't like it, I'm sorry, and whatever, and if you're watching on YouTube, whatever, I'm never going to change that. I like the little breather. I like the... Yeah.
herself.
Alti, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. Happy holidays, and I really appreciate it. That is so very, very kind of you. Thank you.
As a police officer, but mentioned nothing of the crime. She simply...
In mental health, we recommend those. Prolonged periods of tension isn't good. There you go. There you go.
Stated that she was conducting an investigation that could benefit from his presence at the sheriff's office. George's response was to lethargically put on his flip-flops, then walk over to the passenger side door of her unmarked police car and let himself in. Somewhat bewildered, Lisa got in and drove them to the police station a few minutes away without talking. It was around then when she noticed bruising on his knuckles and cuts on his forearm, at which point George was no longer a person of interest. He was the prime suspect.
Oh, shit. Isn't it so interesting? Like obviously everyone reacts differently and acts differently in these scenarios, but it's always so interesting, like hearing how people did act. And I know we love to like judge and be like, oh, they acted that way, so they're guilty or whatever, and it's not really the case at all because everyone reacts differently. But like, it is interesting. Are you guys pause champing me because of how many times I'm pausing this video? Are you joking, chat?
All right, sorry. Did you say you did want water, didn't you? I know I introduced myself to you at your house, but my name is Lisa Reeves. Today's date is May the 3rd, 2010. The current time is, I can't tell on that one, 7:52,
I
okay?
draw with papers too.
What's that?
I draw with papers still right now.
All right, your first name is George.
Yes.
Right away, you'll come to notice that George is oblivious to the gravity of his situation, and it would be very safe to assume that he at this moment is unaware that Yeardley has died.
That's what I was going to say. Like, the way he's acting, does he know yet? Like, have they said at his house, you're coming into the station for this reason? But it sounds like he didn't.
Much trouble as he would be sitting in a principal's office, perhaps for getting in a fight at class or on the lacrosse field. And the sooner he provides a sanitized version of the truth, the sooner he'll get to go home. This, of course, ties in perfectly with the interrogator's opening strategy, which we've labeled warmth for the sake of this video. She will downplay the severity of his situation to a considerable degree, while maintaining a friendly temperament with a sympathetic undertone. She needs the suspect to feel safe and secure for the time being, as the less cautious he is, the more information he's likely to give away. Then as soon as he locks himself into one particular storyline, the pressure can commence, which often leads to a suspect being laden with panic and contradictions.
Before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer before questioning and have one present during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be provided for you. And if you're willing to talk...
What? Oh god, sorry, I just clicked. Hello, Super Cat K, thank you so much for the raid, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Welcome everybody. Hello. Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you so much for the raid, I really appreciate it. And thank you for the follows. My name is Koji. Right now we're streaming some true crime, so please be aware that there's, potentially triggering subjects if you're sticking around. I don't know if you're familiar with JCS, Criminal Psychology, but it's like my favorite YouTube channel where they break down the psychology of criminals. And they just released a new video after a whole year. Thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys had a lovely stream. Hello, Koji. I hope you'll have a great stream today. Thank you. I hope you had a great stream today. I really appreciate the raid. That's so kind of you. Thank you. Your raid message is so cute. Here's a flower streamer. I love it. That's so cute. Yeah, I'm gonna carry on the video, but just a warning that we're watching true crime. So, but it's very interesting true crime because it's all about like the body language and the psychology.
Talk to us now. You have the right to stop talking anytime.
Goth boy, click.
Be Richard,
George
thank
has
you so much for
two
the 27 months. I really appreciate
27
that.
months.
Thank you, thank you.
options here. Option 1 is to remain silent, then allow his father to get him the most expensive attorneys in the country. He would then have years to examine the evidence, evaluate the many options available, and then construct the most self-preserving storyline with world-renowned experts in criminal defense before they present it to a jury. Unfortunately for George, he takes option 2, but before he does, rewatch the flawlessly reassuring manner in which he's given the final piece of the Miranda warning.
And if you're willing to talk to us now, you have the right to stop talking anytime. Got it? Awesome. Just need your signature there that you understand your rights and are willing to talk to us. And time now.
Wait, he's just not going to lawyer up at all? Extra Badger, thank you so much for the 8 months. Happy Christmas to you too. Happy holidays.
7:53.
Guys, I can't believe you're keeping track of the pauses. You guys are the worst.
All right. Let's kind of start. I'm going to kind of ask you some questions, and like I said, we'll explain things a little bit later. Tell me about your day yesterday.
Played golf with our parents. It was a father-son. Good event. I went to dinner with my dad and my two buddies, and then went home, went to the bar for like a little while. Then I went over to talk to Yeardley. And
Who's Yeardley?
Yeardley is my former girlfriend.
Okay.
Which this whole thing's about, which I understand, but
George has now initiated the investigative subject matter himself. It's the perfect opening scenario for the interrogator because she's given nothing away, making it more likely for him to reveal details that will contradict the evidence.
We're only 3 minutes in to the interview.
Talk to Yeardley, I was like, Yeardley, and she was like already totally freaked out because of what she did this past a few days ago, and we haven't talked since, and I was just gonna go talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
Yardley slept with another lacrosse player from North Carolina the week before, which is what he just referred to.
And she was already freaking out. You can't come in, you can't come in. And I was like, I'm just trying to talk to you.
The investigation team obviously had no way of knowing this, and George has now confessed to the crime of second-degree trespass. More importantly, however, he's just confessed to initiating the supposed confrontation. He now can't say that he was somehow tricked or misled into that situation. He knowingly stepped into it, and the critical fact he can actually recognize and remember this will be used against him repeatedly in the future.
And she started being getting all really defensive. She was already on the defensive edge, and I was like, listen, I'm not here to I'm just here to talk to you.
Goth boy, click.
And she
First and longest sub I've ever had, smile.
HJT, thank you so much for the 20 months. Wait, first and longest sub? I'm honored, thank you. Guys, the way he's speaking, he's just making himself look so bad. It's like he's making himself look so bad, and it sounds like he's making it sound like she knew that he was a threat. This is just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And I honestly, if he's guilty, which I'm assuming he is, we don't actually know yet, but I mean he most likely is because of the video, I'm guessing. He's a fucking idiot. What a fucking idiot.
Got all sat up, her bed's against the wall, if it was in this corner, she was up against the wall, and I was we were sitting there talking, and she started being getting all aggressive, after this, and so I was like, all right, like chill out, like
Guys, instead of counting how many times I pause the video, can you just count how many times this guy says like? Because it's actually insane. I'm finding it hard to follow.
shook her a little bit.
So just to recount what George said over the last 47 seconds, Yeardley was defensive. While being in a defensive state, she backed up against the wall. She then became aggressive. George's response to this supposed aggression was to initiate physical contact.
And she started being
I'm sorry, what?
like freaking out, and I was like, listen, I'm not like here to do anything. I'm here to talk to you about everything that's ensued in the past week. And she was like, and like sort of like being like, no, like hitting her head, like stop, like she was in the corner, I was sitting on the bed, I was like, stop, like, and I was like, Yeardley, like, what the hell, like, we were just gonna talk.
So let's go back half a minute and dissect what actually just happened there.
Yeah, please, because I actually can't decipher what he's saying between all the likes, and it's...
And so I was like, all right, like, chill out, like,
Goth boy
shook her a
click.
little bit.
He will now say the words,
another
and
month
she
with
started
my
being
comfort
like,
streamer.
then simultaneously mimic a body colliding with the wall. He will then stop himself mid-thought and subtly modify the detail.
And she started being like freaking out, and I was like, listen.
Oh yeah, did you see
She started
that?
being like freaking out.
He goes from illustrating Yeardley hitting the wall to, as he states, freaking out.
Oh my god. Guys, this is why JCS has the best videos out of anyone ever, and no one will ever be as good as these videos, because this is just so fucking fascinating, and I feel like most people just wouldn't have highlighted or picked up on that, and that's the things that I find really interesting. Ebbs, thank you so much for the 5 months. I really appreciate it. Hey, Cal.
He seems to realize mid-sentence this isn't the best way to explain her injuries, so he changes the detail to buy himself time.
And she started being like freaking out, and I was like, listen, I'm not like here to do anything. I'm here to talk to you.
He carefully shifts the topic from Yeardley to himself, and keeps it there for 8 seconds before attempting to re-explain what occurred in a more self-preserving manner.
And she was like, and like,
The fact he's even having to say so many times, like, I'm not here to do anything, it's really strange. Like, that's really fucking strange, right?
being like, no, like hitting her head, like.
No jury on the planet will believe that Yeardley was voluntarily slamming her head against the wall with enough force to cause fatal brain damage. All George has done
Oh
here
my
is
God,
give away the
man.
fact that he knows Yeardley has sustained some type of head injury, and now lied on record about how it was inflicted.
I was like, Yeardley, like, what the hell, like, we were just gonna talk, and like, it was not at all like a good conversation, because that's like, she was already like freaking out with just even seeing me there.
I can't believe... I can't believe what I'm hearing from this guy. I can't believe this is actually real. I had someone tell me this guy is like really annoying to watch, but this is next level. What the fuck? She was hitting her head on the wall, and it was like we couldn't even have a good conversation. Like, what are you saying, man? No one's gonna fucking believe you. What are you saying?
Okay. What happened next?
What happened next, and she just kept hitting her head against the wall while she was sitting on the bed, and I was like, and I grabbed her and I like shook her. I was like, stop, like, we need to, like, and looked at her. I was like, we need to like talk about this. And like, I mean, I was on holding her arms and stuff, but like, I never struck her. I never like hit her like in the face or anything. I was just like, we need to talk, and she was so like.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't know. Maybe JCS is going to talk about this in a second, but why is he even acting out these things? It's really fucking strange that he's acting it out. Like, what are you doing?
Like, she was so like, oh, I mean, what's the word? Like, you know, like.
Listen, I'm no criminal psychologist at all, but it sounds like he's acting out exactly what fucking happened.
Like, flopping a fish out of the water, like so, like all this, and I was like, listen, like, I'm not here to like fight with you or like do anything, like, here to talk to you, and like, and she's like, no, like, get away from me, you have to leave.
You know what's really scary about this, guys? This is what's really freaking me out, okay? If I was in a room with a woman and she was that distressed to the point she was like shaking or like hitting her head on the fucking wall, it would be so like traumatizing and horrendous, and I'd feel so uncomfortable in myself that I was making someone feel that uncomfortable, that I'd be really, like, you know, upset about it. And there's, like, visually, there's just, like, this guy is not upset about this. Like, there's just nothing. There's nothing there when he's talking about this. I find it really weird. Yeah, especially if it's your girlfriend or someone you actually, like, you know or really care about. It's really fucking weird that there's just, like, when he's telling this story, it's, like, there's just nothing there. There's nothing there. Of course you would leave, yeah. If you thought there's no way I'm going to be able to comfort this person, this is, like, so out of control, you would just leave. You would leave as soon as you realized you were the trigger. Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself. Exactly.
You have to leave. You have to leave. You have to leave. You have to leave.
Exactly.
Like, all this stuff, and I was like, all right, like fine, like, but like I want to talk to you after all this, and like I was like a little bit persistent because of the situation. You know, my former girlfriend who. Something happened last week, you know, and I was like, all right, like, well, so we were like talking over there, and I mean, somehow we ended up, somehow I was resting her on the floor, and I was just like, stop, I just like, and I was holding.
Somehow I was wrestling with her on the floor.
I was holding her. I was a little bit persistent. I was wrestling her on the floor. All further evidence that designates George as the aggressor. He's completely shut down his ability to argue any sort of self-defense claim.
And then the conversation,
Thank fuck.
I could tell was just like, it was not going anywhere, and nothing was happening, and she like went back to bed, and I left, and I went back home.
Okay.
Phase 1 is now complete. The suspect has unknowingly locked himself into a storyline that will put him away for a very long time. The risk of him shutting down or requesting a lawyer is no longer a primary concern. So the interrogator will now increase the pressure. She will confront him on certain elements that she pretended to overlook before, and the ideal scenario is to cause just enough panic so that he backpedals on previous statements and contradicts himself.
All right, so you go over there, knock on the door.
Her front door is open.
Mm-hmm.
Her room door was closed. I knocked like Yeardley, like she heard me open the door and went in.
All right, went in where?
To her room.
All right, straight to her bedroom.
Straight to her bedroom. Yeah, I mean.
How'd you get through the door?
Her door or the front door?
Her door.
Actually, it might have been locked.
Mm-hmm. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Just be honest with me.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was locked. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think I put a hole.
Yeah. You punched a hole through the door.
Pretty sure, actually. Now, yeah, that
Okay.
you said that. Yeah.
Guys, do I even need to say anything at this point? Do I even...
All right.
Pretty sure.
Why'd you do that?
Well, I
What
guess,
was she doing?
yeah, once I was in her room, she was like very like, you know, like, or like, no, I'm not, like, I don't want to talk to you, like all this stuff. And she was very like, you know, very on edge, like, I don't want to talk, like,
Because she was fucking terrified of you, you freak.
I don't want to talk, like, you know.
Okay.
I was like, listen, like, what you pulled last week was outrageous. Like, I just want to talk to you.
Why'd you punch the door then?
A very unusual time to interrupt a suspect in such a contentious manner. He was giving away self-incriminating information that could be used to establish a motive. He was doing exactly what the lead investigator wanted. But Detective Ed has now stopped him in his tracks. It's a reckless maneuver at this point in the interrogation, which Detective Reeves is no doubt conveying at this moment through nonverbal communication. She now has to let the suspect respond as to not undermine their position.
I was gonna say, like, I feel like I've watched enough true crime to know that, like, yeah, if a suspect is just rambling without a lawyer, you're gonna want to, like, just keep letting them talk. Like, remember, I don't know what video we watched ages ago where they were like, he'd like let them answer the question, the interrogator, and then he'd just like look at them like, as if to say, more, tell me more, I want to know more, without saying a word. And the people will just keep rambling and rambling, like trying to give the person what they want to hear. It's so crazy.
Because I want to talk to her.
Detective Reeves will now bring his guard back down through a reassuring tone and gently guide his train of thought back to his grievances with the victim. She pulls this off in 3 questions.
All right, well, continue on. That's fine. Continue on. So you're talking to her and she doesn't want to talk to you?
Not really. I mean, we talked though. Like there was parts where we were talking, and then like.
Do you know what you're talking about?
I mean, about so many different things.
Okay. Like what?
Like what she did last week.
Mm-hmm.
Like went to like Carolina. She went to Carolina and hooked up with someone Sunday when we were still trying to figure out things. And I was over there like to talk, like I was like, this is outrageous. Because I was trying to make everything better, and then like, you know, she was very defensive because she knew like how upset I was, because I've told her like through emails like how upset I was like about what she did. And so I was like, and I sat on the edge of it, I was like, listen, like, I want to talk to you, like what you did was bullshit, like that's not like okay. And I was just like, and she's like not like you know, she's like
Goth boy clip.
You know, sort of.
It's Christmas on Saturday, so I wanted to wish you all a Merry Christmas. Love you all, less than 3.
Hibiscus, thank you so much for the 18 months. Wow, that's a new sub badge. Let's go. Thank you so much. Happy holidays to you too. I hope you have a lovely break. This is so hard to follow. I am like sat here paying more attention than I think I've ever paid to any video ever. And I'm really, like, I'm not joking. I'm really struggling to follow what he's saying. I really am. Thank you for the follows, by the way. I really appreciate it. I can't follow it very well.
Everything that she did to the back burner. And
I've noticed how much he's saying she was really defensive. I don't know like what he's trying to suggest by that, because it doesn't sound good for him. I don't know if he's trying to like play it as in like later down the line he might be able to say that he was like doing some kind of self-defense. It's really weird, to be honest. He said she was defensive so many times.
Yeah, like you know, like they trying to like put everything that she did like wasn't important.
You know what listening to him reminds me of? You guys remember that video of the little kid and he's like, and today, and then was like, and I was, and then as I was in, and I was like, and I was, bro, I feel like I'm listening to that meme of that kid doing that, where it, like, I just can't follow it. I can't, is he speaking English?
I
can't follow it.
To the point where she, like, I was like, listen, like, we have to figure, like, out what's going on. And she was like, I'm not talking to you. And then she, like, pushed me, like, get out of here. Like, go. And I was like, no. And, like, I was like...
It's almost like, it sounds like almost like incoherent, like, rambling as if he's had, like, too much to drink, you know? It's like, that's what it's reminding me of.
So, like, get, like...
When you're doing that, what are you holding on her?
On her arms.
On her arms, like maybe up here?
Like, shoulders, yeah.
Shoulders?
Like, come on, like, you know.
You're making me paranoid, chat. You keep saying stop saying like Koji. Koji can't stop saying like. You're actually making me paranoid, guys.
See, that's when she was like wiggle and like get away and like, you know, like hide get in the corner, like really like aggressive, like defensively almost.
Really like aggressive, like defensively almost, like hiding in the corner aggressively. Are you fucking joking?
And then she ended.
This is unbelievable.
And I left. I was like, this is not going anywhere.
How'd she get back in bed?
We were like wrestling, and we stood up, and I tossed her. I pushed her onto the bed. I was like, go to bed. Like, I'll talk to you later.
Did you touch her neck area at all? Did you choke her at one point?
I may have grabbed her a little bit by the neck when we were like, but I never like strangled her.
Okay.
But I mean, during the whole like commotion, you know, like I might have grabbed her neck, but I never was like strangling her.
It's like he's trying to like play this off as if he was like just had a couple of beers with the boys and we had like a little wrestle on the floor. Like, what the fuck, man? You're talking about strangling your girlfriend and trying to play it off like you were wrestling with the boys. Like, what are you doing?
Okay.
More detail that was unknown to the investigation. The fact that he grabbed her neck can now be used as evidence. It paints a more frightening picture of the incident with relation to the suspect's aggression toward the victim. This was an extremely damaging revelation for George's defense. The discussion moves to the moment he left, and George admits that he took Yeardley's laptop.
Why'd you grab her laptop?
Because I was so pissed that she wouldn't talk to me. I was like, I don't know. I like took it almost as like collateral, I guess. I don't know. It's not reasonable logic, but
right. Okay.
I don't know.
Did you take anything else besides your laptop?
No.
Nothing?
No.
Okay.
I mean.
All right. So when you left out of there, I mean, you saw that she was bleeding on her nose.
She's now about to ask a question with the same implication for a second time. Notice what occurred the first time.
Did you go back and check on her at any point?
No, I did not.
Okay. Did you try to call rescue or anything to make sure she was all right?
No, I did not.
No. Why?
The face of bewilderment, if there ever was one. It's very strange that he's so taken aback by such a question, especially when you take into account the possible outcome if he had actually called for help.
One medical expert revealed in the courtroom for the very first time that following Yeardley Love's brutal beating, had George Hughley or anyone else called for help, she might have survived.
Bro, that's...
I didn't think it was like... I didn't think that she was like in need of like going to the emergency room. She just got. I mean, like.
What do you think that?
I don't know. I mean,
Didn't you say when you were, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you were shaking her head was hitting the wall?
Well, that was in the beginning. That was initially when I walked in. Like she was like up in the corner, like saying, get out of here, like like this.
Mm-hmm. At any time when you were shaking her, did her head bang the wall?
Put yourself in George's position and imagine Yeardley had in fact self-inflicted her injuries. You would perhaps say something along the lines of, absolutely not.
I wasn't hitting her against the wall, but like when she's like sitting there in the corner of like, if it were like this, and I'm like, Yeardley, like, and I was like what the fuck was that about? Like that's such bullshit that you like do that. Like that's such a.
This guy is the prime example of just think before you speak. You don't need to like rush to answer things. Like he's just talking and he's just saying everything, and you can see he's like realizing that he's saying incriminating things and like trying to backtrack on them and change it, but what he's saying doesn't make any fucking sense, and it's obvious what he was gonna say. I mean, yeah, always lawyer up. I mean, obviously, it's actually amazing that people don't. I like. Fuck, Thread Bros. Thank you so much for the 6 months. It's tricky because everyone should have a lawyer. Everyone should have. These people are trained professionals to interrogate and get information out of people and use all kinds of like manipulating tactics and stuff. You should always lawyer up. Of course you should. There's a chance this guy could have been innocent and needed a lawyer, but like, holy fuck.
Bullshit move, like what like like everyone like hearing her, like what are you like doing like that like.
Okay. She has a pretty good knot on her head. That's why I'm asking how you can explain how that would have happened.
I mean, I don't even know when a knot. Mm-hmm. I mean,
like on the side of her head, she's been hit pretty good right there. So I'm just trying to figure out, did you hit her with something?
No.
Was that
no,
her head into the wall?
I never touched her or struck her or anything.
Well, you touched her. You had your hands on her.
I said never struck her.
Okay. So I'm gonna go through this one more time, make sure we're on the same page. So you're pretty pissed at her from a week ago for sending you text messages. Do you have those text messages where she says she, as you put it, fucked somebody?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like you said, he's from a wealthy family. He should have known to lawyer up. I'm sure somebody would be able to afford it. It's interesting that he like never. I guess he didn't speak to his family after he'd been arrested. Maybe he was too embarrassed and didn't want them to ever find out about it. But like, surely someone would have told him to lawyer up before this. I guess he never spoke to anyone before going into interrogation.
I actually might have those, yeah.
All right, you got your phone with you?
Yeah.
And let's pull it out and scroll through it. Let's see if we can see those.
The next moment is fascinating because it symbolizes how drastically George's life is about to change. The interrogator will invade his personal space to make sure he's not deleting anything from his phone. Soon after that, she will take the phone out of his hand and place it on the table. Actions that would be completely unacceptable in almost any other circumstance.
We didn't say them.
They were like, I guess what you call like an ongoing conversation, an ongoing like instant message, and it's gone.
Okay. I'll use that one then. We'll leave that right here for now. All right. Let's talk about
Yeah,
how
she
you...
like fully got in there, didn't she? She like, her body language as well. She was like fully like over, like, like the alpha in the room, like over him, like looking right at it. That was
Entered, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
because to put your fist through the door.
no,
she
it's
has
actually my
been
leg,
telling-
I'm pretty
Is
sure.
your leg?
Because that's why my leg's like this.
Yeah, you're right. That was
kicked
your
it.
leg.
Yeah.
How'd you get all the bruising on your hand then?
This is all from lacrosse. This is all.
That's pretty fresh right there, looks.
This is all from my lacrosse game on Saturday.
On
I mean, I wear my
Saturday.
arm, you can see where my arm pads are.
Mm-hmm.
Right here, and my gloves right here, and that's.
Even right there, I thought you wore the...
That accent is so fascinating to me because it reminds me of like it sounds like an exaggerated like surfer bro accent, like I don't know, like Cali surfer bro accent. I don't know if I've ever really heard someone with this accent before that isn't like exaggerating it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, on like TikTok you get like the people that will play that character of like the real like surfer bro. I can't do it, but I've never heard someone with such like an actual real accent like that before. It's really interesting.
This is
lacrosse.
This is all the difference. This is all from lacrosse.
Okay.
And I got whacked here. I remember 100% got whacked during the game when I was trying to kill the clock.
Mm-hmm. When you had her and you're shaking,
I don't really know what a
scratched
frat guy is. You mean just like a jock? You mean like a jock, right? Like is that what that is?
anywhere?
No.
No?
No.
She's a
It's like a
little
joke.
girl.
Okay.
She's tiny.
Yeah, she did not. No, she didn't. She didn't
She didn't
scratch
try to
me.
hit you or anything like that?
No.
Okay. So you kick in the door.
Yeah,
Go in.
that's how I got. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I stuck my hand through and unlocked it, and went in there, and
Okay.
everything else I told you.
It's
The
so interesting
detectives
because like it's gone from him at the start of the video. Like I don't know why she thought I kept telling her I was just like here to talk and stuff. After he's just fucking smashed the door down basically and broken and entered, without permission. And he literally said she was saying she doesn't want him to come in.
Leave the room for roughly 3 minutes.
Yeah, he also admitted that she never lashed out or retaliated or like tried to defend herself. It's crazy.
When they return, it appears Ed is given the chance to lead with a few of his own questions.
I know we touched about what happened last night, but set it up for me, lead it up to me a little bit here. Why did you guys break up exactly? Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Well, we are not from the same area.
Right.
And she wants to move to New York, and I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing yet, but I'd like to move to San Francisco.
Why'd you take her computer?
I don't know. I have no idea.
There's maybe because there's evidence on the computer, emails that you sent?
No, there's no. I mean, you can read all the emails and everything back and forth.
Detective Ed now asks George if he held Yeardley down on the bed. He's trying to subtly set the grounds for an argument of smothering, which isn't a terrible idea, but would be disproven by the autopsy regardless.
No.
Did you fall down on top of her, rest on the
We were
ground?
wresting on the ground for like a little
Did
bit.
y'all wrestle on the bed at all?
No, I never I shook her.
No, I mean just kind of hold her down until she calmed down on the bed.
No, if anything, that
I mean,
Ed's having a nightmare day.
Like, on the
Nightmare
floor.
day.
When we were on
Can't
the
seem to
floor,
do anything right
when
today.
her nose started bleeding, we were like wrestling around, and that's when her nose started bleeding.
Was it pretty noisy when y'all were wrestling around?
No, I mean.
Was she screaming?
No, she was not screaming, actually.
I mean, if I'm cracking my head in the wall, I'm going to be saying, "Ow!"
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, she was not screaming.
Yeah.
She
You're
should
a
have
liar,
been.
man.
Probably, I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
She should have been. Probably, I mean, maybe. I don't.
I can't fucking believe I've never seen anything like this before, ever. This is fucking absurd. What the actual fuck?
I don't know.
Why do you think she should
I
have?
don't know. I mean, well, she was screaming when I first came into the room. She was like, "No, I'm not talking to you. Get the fuck out of here," all that. But
He's literally acting out like she's being grabbed. Oh, this is crazy. This is crazy.
At any point, before you said you, and this was your words, you said you tossed her on the bed, and then you left.
Yeah.
All right. At any point before that, did she lose consciousness?
No.
Okay. What happened after you tossed her on the bed? Did she move? Talk about, say something?
I mean, I literally tossed her on the bed and turned around and...
Tossed her on the ground or tossed her on the bed?
And
Tossed her on the
walked
bed.
out the door.
Okay. So when you tossed her back on the bed, in your mind, she was bleeding, but you said she was bleeding out her nose, and you didn't feel like you needed to call rescue?
No.
After that, after banging her head and
No,
shaking her and blood coming out her nose on the floor?
No.
Can I move my cam higher? Yeah. Why?
There's nothing about like...
You missed anything that no one asked him right now?
There's nothing about like going
looking.
to get anything or going, you know.
Oh, wait, one sec.
I don't know why I took the computer.
George rambles about why there was no reason for taking the laptop for another 20 seconds, during which time Detective Reeves decides that enough information has been attained. Phase 2 is now complete, and the fate of Yeardley is about to be revealed. These moments in interrogations are considered important for the purpose of gauging a suspect's response. It's believed that a sharp and sudden revelation can make it difficult to fabricate emotion. So in theory, this will cause a suspect to provide either a genuine response or a relatively obvious disingenuous response.
Oh, wait. Oh, no, they're not going to finally make him do some bad acting.
Which often comes in the pretense of shock or remorse.
I mean, I guess that's where my logic was at, but which is...
Well, I have to tell you something.
I think I know why you took the computer.
In the midst of what would have been a flawlessly executed moment, Detective Ed jumps back into the laptop mystery.
Ed, you're having a fucking nightmare day in the office, man. Even he's looking at Ed like, oh, you're fucking this up, man.
The suspect has essentially confessed to murder. This really wasn't the time for regurgitated conjecture.
She's so fucking annoyed with him. She looks like... She's got that face of, like, a teacher or your mum telling you off. Like, that fucking horrifying, like, burning through your fucking soul face.
Petty theft misdemeanor, which Ed was clearly being advised of once again through nonverbal communication.
Why do you think?
You all right? Go ahead now.
Wait, did she just ask Ed if he's done? Wait, no fucking shot. Chat, no shot.
Why do you think?
You all right? Go ahead now.
Oh my god! What?
He's dead.
Oh shit.
You killed her, George. Killed her.
She's dead?
I think you knew that already.
No, I did not.
In our opinion, George is being truthful here, and we believe the interrogator feels the same way in this moment.
She's dead.
That's so interesting, because I was going to say that was the worst acting I've ever seen. Like, ever seen. But they think that was actually, like, genuine. And they, fuck me, I know they know a lot more than me.
How the fuck is she dead?
Because you killed her, George.
That reminded me of, like, when we're playing Among Us, and I'll be like, oh, Janet's dead when I'm taking the piss, you know?
How the fuck is she dead?
Because you killed her.
George appears to be going through a delayed response. It's so foreign a revelation that
okay, to be fair, he actually does look fucking distraught there. This is like the first genuine looking thing I've seen from him all day. All day.
To sink in. Once the shock settles, he refuses to accept it, and this denial appears to be a momentary coping mechanism before the reality of the situation truly hits him, which will happen at this time in the footage.
Oh my god. She's dead?
Yes.
She's dead?
Yes.
She's dead?
She's dead.
How? How?
I already told you how. You already told us how as well.
How is she dead?
You just told us.
Oh my god.
Guys, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. To me, this seems like more like again, I'm not a professional. It's just my opinion. It seems to me I'm sure he's probably a bit shocked and upset that she is dead, but also this is a fucking lunatic that's gone in and assaulted a woman really badly. He's disgusting. It seems like he's more concerned about, oh fuck, I'm gonna go to prison and everyone's gonna find out about this. I that's just the vibe I'm getting from this person. I think he's more concerned about what's gonna happen to him now.
You went in there to talk with her, but I got out
because he did. Like, if you think about it, right? He's really badly assaulted his ex-girlfriend, right? He didn't really seem to give a fuck when he came in, which he obviously, if he really didn't know she was dead, he's come into this interview and acted like we've been watching for the last 30 minutes. Like, he doesn't really give a fuck, and like explaining like he was wrestling with like one of his bros or whatever the fuck. And now all of a sudden, you know,
right, George?
Oh, Ed's jumped in.
The detectives will now add further pressure to keep him talking. Suspects will often divulge information in these moments in the panicked attempt to save themselves, and in doing so can shut down a more credible storyline they haven't thought up yet.
The alcohol got a hold of you. You kicked in her door. She started to fight with you. You punched her in the head, or you cracked.
She's not dead.
You cracked her head.
Dead.
You
She's
cracked her head
dead.
in the window or in the wall.
Not dead.
She is.
She's not dead.
I ain't BSing you right now. It's serious.
I want to see her.
George, look at me.
George.
She is dead.
You are not here to dance with us. You're here because she's dead. The alcohol.
I don't believe it. I don't believe
it's
it.
true.
Dude, I didn't. I don't believe that she's dead. I don't believe that she's dead. I don't believe that she's dead.
Did you punch her? Did you hit her?
There's no way she's dead. She's not dead. I didn't. I never did anything. I did not.
All right, let's calm down.
I did not like hurt her. Like she's not dead.
Let him calm down.
Just out of protocol, what we gotta do is stand up for me, George. Go ahead, put your hands behind your back for me. Turn.
Relax.
Relax. You'll be alright.
Tell me she's not dead. Tell me she's not dead, though, please. Please tell me she's not dead.
Relax.
Please.
I see what you guys are saying in the chat. I actually agree with like your general sentiment that like this guy probably would have lawyered up or been more careful about what he was saying had he known she was dead. I'm guessing he didn't know.
Please, will you tell me
You know what? I wish I could tell you that, George. 22-year-old. 22. And her life is done.
This is horrific. Like, actually horrific.
I did not do anything like that. Oh my god. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. I do not believe it. I do not believe it. There's no way. There's no way she could be dead.
Either the head trauma or asphyxiation.
There was no asphyxiation.
Okay.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
What was she doing the last time you saw her?
She was like standing up with me. She was standing up with me. She was standing up with me, looking at me.
Was she standing or you were holding her?
Standing up, looking at me.
Okay.
She's not dead. I know she's not dead. I know 100 million% she's not dead. I did. She cannot be dead.
I know it got out of hand, George.
No, it didn't. And she's like, no, like, get away from me. You have to leave, you have to leave. I was like a little bit persistent. I
Was
mean,
she screaming?
she should have been. I didn't kill her and leave. I didn't just, oh my god. I didn't kill her. I did not kill her. I did not kill her.
Yeah, actually, I thought exactly the same. I thought he said he threw her on the bed and walked out, and then he's saying she was standing up looking at him when he left. That's what I thought as well. I wasn't gonna say it because I thought I was just wrong. He did say that. Yeah, I was honestly thinking the same.
I did not. There's no way I didn't do it. No way. No way. I want a lawyer. I don't believe this.
Should have got a lawyer a long
I don't
time
believe
ago,
this.
man.
What? There's no way. There's no way. There's no fucking way. So should I talk to someone?
Who do you want to talk to?
Anyone. A lawyer.
One will get appointed to you.
Okay, what do I do now? Go to jail?
Yeah.
All right, George, right now, I know you no longer want to talk to us. That's fine. I'm just letting you know something. We're working on a search warrant right now, And what it is we're going to have to collect some stuff from you, like what's called a buccal swab, okay?
Why did you guys come in and say you were searching for an assault?
I never said anything about an assault.
Someone came in this
I
morning.
never mentioned to you anything, just told you we're investigating something, wanted to know.
Investigating
That's what he cares about. That's what he cares about in this moment. That's the most important thing going through his mind is, you guys tricked me because I thought it was assault.
You may call anybody for you, George.
At the start of this video, you were asked to think of what you would do in this situation. Really try and imagine what would be going through your mind in this moment, as you might just gain a restorative outlook from both knowing the answer while not having to answer this particular question. But there is of course no possible way you will gain anything close to the newfound perspective George has acquired in this moment, which unfortunately for him is no longer of use.
Want me to call your dad?
We call it Mom.
Your mom? Is that who you'd like me to call?
Can I talk to her?
Mm-hmm.
Can I talk to her?
I don't know about that. What's your mom's name?
Oh my God.
What's her number?
301-96.
Okay.
How?
Did you want me to call your dad? Or just her?
She'll tell her.
Mm-hmm.
She can tell her everything.
Okay.
How?
Guys, have you ever thought about like how fascinating it is? I've noticed this so many times when people are being interrogated, how they can like, people can like fully grown, you know, like 40, 50-year-olds can literally turn into like children. I don't know if it's like the interrogation tactics they use and the way they make people feel. I've noticed in so many like interrogation videos how people start acting like children, like literal children. And I'm not just talking about like throwing tantrums and stamping their feet like this guy is. I'm talking about like their whole demeanor and body language becoming like children. And it's like so strange. I've seen it so many times. I don't know what it is. Wait, sorry, I can't see that message because thank you, Dube.
I don't believe it. There's no way she's gonna be dead. There's no way.
Calm down.
There's no way. There's no way. There's no.
Regression is a defense mechanism. Is it actually? Is that really true? Because that's actually really fascinating, and I would like to learn more about that. That's fascinating. See, that's something I've never like heard a video talk about before, and I would love to know more about that. It's a mind's way of protecting itself. So I've kind of heard things like that before, and I've also heard, yeah, like the trauma response stuff. I have heard stuff like that. That's so interesting. That's so interesting.
Doris, go ahead, put your foot down.
Oh my God.
Yep.
These next few moments are a turning point. The leg irons seem to initiate a shift in his constitution, and his denial will completely cease from this point forward. He will continue to ask why and how, but he will no longer reject the severity of what is happening.
Oh my God.
God, I don't know if it's just me. I just still feel like he just feels sorry for himself. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being biased because he's a piece of shit and I don't like him and he's done something awful, but... Just...
Heck of a day, bud.
God, men are so weird. That man psychology, like, I know what the police officers are doing. I know all about, like, the bonding with men and trying to be like, oh, yeah, she was just a like, I get all that stuff, but, like, fucking hell, the psychology of men is so fucking weird, man. It's so weird.
I ain't here the rest of my life.
I'm sorry?
So am I in here the rest of my life?
In this room?
No, jail.
I don't know.
Oh, bad God.
Sorry, I'm just gonna carry on about that just to try and like explain what I mean. Like, you know how like if they're interrogating a man, and they'll be like a man interrogating a man, they'll be like, oh, and she was probably acting up, and you just like were putting her in line, like these weird things. I get why the interrogators say it, but the fact it works, the psychology of men is just so fucking bizarre, man. It's just like,
Never said you were, bud.
guys, I said like before this video. I'm like, I grew up in Bristol. Everyone says like in Bristol. It is. It's reinforcing misogyny. It is literally just like misogyny. Yeah, of course it is. It absolutely is. It's just so fucking bizarre.
Call my mom.
I'm sorry?
You call my mom.
No, yes. Yeah, you do want to talk to her. Now's when you need your family the most, bud. You know?
There's no way I've paused the video 69 times, chat. That's bullshit. Actually, it's been 40 minutes. That's not even that bad. Bro, that's a confession like in the Jinx. I don't know if you guys have seen the Jinx. I've like never heard people do this. I'm gonna just turn it up, chat. I'll turn it back down because this video is very loud. That's like a Jinx confession. You never hear these. These are so rare. That's so haunting. But at the same time, I'm so glad he said that because now he is just fucked.
George was...
I'm not gonna lie, spoilers for Jinx. If you haven't watched the Jinx at this point and you like true crime, what is you doing? You need to watch that right the fuck now. It's the best. It's literally my favorite. That and The Staircase are the best true crime series of all time.
Taken to the regional jail soon after this moment. He would go on to plead not guilty to murder and was held without bond for almost 2 years awaiting trial. It began on February 6, 2012.
Well, testimony is now underway in the murder trial of the former UVA lacrosse player accused of killing his ex-girlfriend.
For the first time, we have video of Yeardley as he was led into the courtroom.
Contrary to his appearance in the days that followed his arrest for the murder of 22-year-old Yeardley Love, he appeared pale, frail, and gaunt.
The prosecution presented a case that Yeardley went to Love's apartment that night, busted through her bedroom door, and in some way struck her, causing blunt force trauma which led to her death.
We've also learned that on that night, George Yeardley was exchanging what were described.
That night, busted through her bedroom door, and in some way struck her, causing blunt force trauma which led to her death.
We've also learned that on that night, George Yeardley was exchanging what were described as
Guys, doesn't, like, I really hate to go off topic, but doesn't he look like a customer coming in that night shift game? In this clip here? Like, why is he's something is so off about this clip.
And in some way struck her,
he looks like one of those customers in that game, The Night Shift, the coffee shop game.
We've also learned that on that night, George Yeardley was exchanging what were
I had to watch it 4 times to be like, am I tripping?
With 3 other women. Those
he was like so
continued
square in
late
that
into
clip.
The night and even after the alleged attack.
Throughout this trial, Yeardley has sat expressionless, almost stoic at the defense table. All of that changed today as this police interview was airing. Yeardley began crying, was often pinching the bridge of his nose with his hands and looking down as he listened to the sound of his own hysterical voice. I did not kill her. I did not kill her. I did not.
In court Tuesday, Yeardley's defense faced an uphill climb.
The most riveting testimony came from former UNC lacrosse.
Guys, I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to rewind it because I've zoned out and I've missed something there.
As playful text messages with 3 other women. Those messages.
Okay, that's the ADHD chat. I just want to clarify that's the ADHD. That's insane. I didn't actually hear any of this. I was so busy thinking about fucking that stupid game.
Late into the night and even after the alleged attack.
This is like... This is just like... I'm sorry. Like, this is typical fucking men, actually. I'm not gonna lie. How dare a woman cheat on him? It's just unforgivable and it's so despicable and he's allowed to be so furious and angry about that. But he's texting 3 girls and that's nothing. This is fucking men. This is fucking men. Like, I'm not joking. It's so despicable. It's so disgusting. And this, like, mindset, I don't know where it comes from. It's this insane superiority complex or something. Like, how... I know so many people personally who have, growing up, acted exactly like this. Okay, I'm sorry, that's not true. They didn't act exactly like this in the sense they didn't hurt women, but they had this same mindset where, like, they could cheat on their girlfriends, and that was, like, fine. They could text those people, but if their girlfriend did it, unforgivable. Disgusting, despicable, like, unforgivable. Like, this mindset is... Guys, I can't tell you how terrifyingly common this mindset in men is. I'm just speaking for, like, English males here, because that's all I have a pool of examples of. It's disgustingly common. I actually can't tell you how common this is, and it's Bro, I'm gonna be so fucking British here, but it's literally flabbergasting. It's the only word to describe how unbelievably nonsensical this thinking is, but how common it is. It's flabbergasting, man.
Throughout this trial,
it's so common.
Expressionless, almost
it's gross.
At the defense table. All of that changed today as this police...
And then they start podcast. The high value male. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Interview was airing.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Crying.
And they'll talk about these topics and in there, yeah.
He was often pinching the bridge of his nose with his hands and looking down as he listened to the sound of his own hysterical voice. I did not kill her. I did not kill her. I did not.
In court Tuesday, Hughley's defense faced an uphill climb.
The most riveting testimony came from former UNC lacrosse player Michael Burns, who testified that one time while visiting UVA, he heard some yelling for help from Hughley's apartment. When he opened the door, he said he found Yeardley with his arm wrapped around Love's neck, choking her. Yeardley then let her go, and she ran out of the room, crying.
A variety of medical experts took the stand this Wednesday, and they all seemed to agree that Love's death was the result of blunt force trauma to the head. This was followed by highly distressing witness testimony from Yeardley's neighbors.
The noise was so loud, this was such a violent death that they heard it downstairs, two separate witnesses, and it sounded like a stereo crashing to the ground.
And it certainly didn't help that the jury knew that she was alive for 2 hours before she died, indicating that if George Yeardley had come to his senses, he could have gone back there, called 911, and possibly saved her life.
Still, the driving argument for the defense is that George Yeardley never intended to kill. They say this was all a tragic accident, that he does not deserve a life sentence, but instead a lesser charge and a second chance.
Guilty.
What? Who said that?
And you will hear this.
Who said that?
This was all a tragic accident, is that George
911 and possibly saved her life.
Still, the driving argument for the defense is that George
sorry. Okay, it was his defense. Oh my god. Guys,
never intended to kill. They say,
guys, I'm not joking. You actually never know with, like, guys, you don't know, like, certain parts of this world, especially with, like, guys, I'm just gonna say it, like, white men in power, the things that white men will do for other white men is fucking terrifying. I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. There's certain parts of this world where white men would excuse other white men even if they were a stranger and they did something awful. They'd, like, try and find a way where it was okay. It's fucked. It's terrifying, but, like, it's fucking true.
Say this was all
so scary.
A tragic accident, that he does not deserve.
They, like, defend a stranger that did horrific things.
A life sentence, but instead a lesser charge and a second chance.
Guilty of second-degree murder, and you will hear the sentence momentarily.
A 26-year prison term came down.
George Yeardley was brought to court to hear his lawyers plead for the judge to cut in half the 26-year sentence recommended by the jury. Judge Edward Hogshire did trim it back, but by just 3 years.
The jury in this case recommended 26 years. The judge changed it to 23, probably a small difference, but why would he do that?
It's surprising, isn't it, considering this is a
Yeah,
woman who was
why?
beaten to death in her own bed.
We think that George was convicted of a crime inconsistent with the facts, and he received a penalty inconsistent with what the evidence would require.
Shut the fuck up.
There are no winners in this case.
With credit for the time that George Yeardley has already served.
Sorry, why is it only 23 years? This man broke into someone's home, went in and killed them.
in jail, and if he gets time off for good behavior, he could be out in 18 years. And the family for Yeardley Love has put out this statement saying, "We find no joy in other sorrow. We are relieved to put this chapter behind us."
As for George, he was incarcerated at the maximum security Augusta Correctional Center for 10 years and has since been
Where is he being interrogated? Like, where is this? What state is this?
transferred to a prison work camp in Richmond, where he's expected to serve out the rest of
I
his
don't know where these
sentence.
places are.
The present consensus in the media is that
Virginia?
George had no intention of killing Yeardley, but that his 23-year sentence is still appropriate, if not lenient, and that him being drunk to any degree at the time of the murder is not an excuse, nor does it lessen the culpability of his actions to any extent. He'll be released at the age of 45, meaning he will have the second chance at life Yeardley was never afforded. You can decide for yourself whether he deserves it or not.
A comforting prospect to this tragedy.
You know what? Like, if it was completely accidental and he didn't know he'd killed her, fair enough. There's that part, and you can think, okay, maybe this person can learn and become like a contributing part of the society, whatever. But this person also didn't phone anyone to help her, and she could have survived, and she didn't. And because of that, I just think that, like, yeah.
Tragedy is the nonprofit organization that arose from it. The One Love Foundation carries extremely important messages, both on social psychology and preventative education. Their website will be linked in the description of this video.
Yeah, guys, I know. I also, like, I completely agree. Like, everyone has a right to an attorney and stuff like that. But and I've said it before on stream. Like, I don't know how anyone could ever be a defense lawyer. I don't like for people like that. But like, you know, they're just trying to do their job. I can't imagine doing it myself. I don't think I could. But like, people, I don't know. I can't imagine having to like to try and defend people like that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. That was absolutely fucking horrendous, but it felt really. It was nice to do some reaction content on stream again. It's been a really, really long time.